Hey there, gang. Kevin here. Somebody complained about me saying that at the beginning of the videos. I don't know why I'm Kevin and I'm here. But anyway, this is an Asylum 13 barber pole in Gordo. Big boy. I guess what I kind of want to talk about today. Well, tripod. I have been following this story for a couple of days now. I didn't actually look at it see when this started, but we've got some folks that are headed down a slippery slope that I have talked about before. This is some Four Roses single barrel. Four Roses single barrel. Side note. Somebody asked me not too long ago how much whiskey I drank. Now, I replied someplace between none and a lot. And that is a true statement. I guess somebody is concerned that I drink too much. Basically, about the only time I drink is about a half a shot or a shot for these videos. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, whenever, that kind of thing. And some holidays. And I drink a beer when I go to the Mexican restaurant. So those of you who are concerned, don't be concerned. That being said, didn't talk enough. I've been following this story of a representative, I think in North Carolina, who they are trying to block his attempt to be reelected. And they're using a Reconstruction era law that basically says if you have ever been in an insurrection against the United States, you can't run to be a representative of the United States. That's good. That's a good idea. But there are two things in this particular thing that need to be considered. My focus is jumping around again. They say you're supposed to hold your finger where you want it to focus on the screen, and it'll stay fixed focused there after the little circle appears. That's a lie on my phone. It doesn't always do that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But anyhow, the slippery slope that they are having the problem with, or I'm having the problem with them trying to use this, is this. This was a Reconstruction era law. That's after Civil War, just for those of you who don't know. That basically, the whole purpose of the law was if you had sworn an oath to the United States and then went and swore an oath to the Confederacy, then you were not eligible to come back and be a representative of the United States again. I guess at the time that would have been a good law. Now, unfortunately, the article that I read first was basically they said that if you had taken an oath to the Constitution of the United States to support and defend that, and then taken an oath to the Confederacy, then you were no longer eligible to go back because you obviously didn't support the Constitution. Well, here's the problem. Now, this representative, I think his name is Madison Cawthorn, Cawthorn, maybe? I'd have to go look it up, and I'm not Uh, this guy's a Republican, of course. They say he supported the January 6th insurrection against the United States government at the Capitol. Now, my question is this: if it was an insurrection against the government and nobody bought guns, wasn't really much of an insurrection. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, these are the same folks who had no problem with the Black Panthers back in, I think, the 60s, taking over the Capitol building with guns. Anyway, there's an organization that's fighting against letting this guy seek re-election again. And I think it's People for Freedom of Speech or Freedom of Speech for the People or something along those lines. I didn't look them up either. I know I'm fairly certain it's probably going to be some liberal organization or backed by liberals or so on and so forth. I don't know how far back we're going to go, but once again, follow the money, as always. Who's funding these clowns? But here's what you need to understand. If that is our cause, and that's the reason you're going to cite that someone shouldn't seek re-election, then I'm with you. Because here's the deal. There are many, 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 many members of the Senate and the House, and we'll just leave it at that, and other elected officials, we won't leave it at that, who are blatantly and openly fighting against the United States Constitution. So if you are going to say that this guy doesn't get to run again because he violated his oath against the Constitution, then that's good, because I think we ought to use that to go back and jump on all these clowns who are violating their oath. And you know how many there are, and you know who the main participants are. So that's fine. If you want to play this game, I think it's a game that I would want to play with you. Now, once again, we know that the people who need to see this are never going to see it. But it's like this. Like I said, there are dozens of elected officials who are out there daily violating their oath. Daily. So I support, if we are going to go against these, or if we're going to go after these clowns and not let them seek re-election, or better yet, put them in jail. They took an oath to the United States. If they violated the oath, put them in federal prison. Anyway, if we're going to go after people for violating their oath to the Constitution, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, then I think we should do that across the board. Also, this leads into the segue of laws that I like to talk about a lot. Because here's the deal. I watch every year state legislatures and the federal government, mainly the House of Representatives and the Senate, it's all the same thing. The Congress and the Senate, House of Representatives, all of them, everybody. I watch them brag about how many bills they passed. And it's thousands. We both know that you guys did not look at, review, and understand thousands of bills that you voted into law. We know that you didn't have time to do that. Plain and simple. If it was 1,000, that was over 3 a day. Think about it. Or roughly 3 a day. Think about it. We know you didn't read those, especially not when you make them thousands of pages long, with nonsense amendments on them, and nonsense attachments, and hundreds of pages of boilerplate that no one but a lawyer understands, and most of the lawyers don't understand it. So here's the deal. That's fine. If we're going to do all that, number one, law. Here's a caveat we need to have against every law, or with every law. It needs to be reviewed every 10 years. If it's not voted back into active status by whatever the governing body is, then it needs to drop off the books. Because we've got too many old laws in the books, like Civil War era laws that were completely, and they had an agenda. It was to keep officers of the Confederacy from coming back to the federal government of the United States. That's what it is. So, if we're going to do that, that's good. Let's go after these people who are violating the oath, and let's get a caveat on the books of if a law is not reviewed every 10 years and voted back into active status, then it drops off the books and it no longer applies, because we're using old laws that were never meant for what's going on right now, and we're just going out and finding them. But we're going to go out and find them, and we're going to use them selectively. We're going to go after people that we don't like, and by people we don't like, who don't fit our political ideology. So let's think about that for a while. Rip Cawthorn, I don't know who you are. Look at that, dude. That's damn lit. I don't know who you are. I haven't followed you. I just happened to see this story roll across my feed, and I read it, and I read a couple more things about it, and I don't know if you've been in an insurrection or not. At this point, I don't really care, because it's one of those, if we are going to set the precedent that they want to set right now, your opponents, then I am all for it. Gonna backfire. I guess that's it. I need to get back in the woods. I've got too much time on my hands. I've been playing this stupid video game for the last 2 or 3 days. Ark. Yeah, it's like a role-playing, strategy, farming, and all that kind of crap game. But I've been spending way too much time playing with that thing. And y'all do video games? I haven't done any for years because, quite frankly, they all went to online stuff where you had to have a good, fast internet connection, and we just never had that here. So I just started ignoring all that stuff. So this new fast internet is probably going to be my downfall. Oh well. Anyway, thanks for your views. Thanks for your support. Like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. See y'all in the woods. Hope though.